Hello, and welcome to the Cutie Art Crusaders, episode 188 for March 15th, 2016. My name is Rainbow Plasma. I'm the organizer and host of the podcast, and today I'm joined by...
Burn to One, the special guest coordinator.
Flutterguy317, I'm the media manager, and this week the editor.
And I'm Atmos Spark. I do DeviantArt and questions and stuff.
I don't know why, but during that intro at some point, like my brain like clicked back in and was like, whoa, are you supposed to be getting ready for an intro here?
Yeah, and I did it too. Luckily, I came to.
Yeah, but I didn't need to. I had already done mine. So Joel and I are back this week.
Hi.
After last week's episode with Nad Nerb.
Yes.
How'd that go, by the way? I didn't watch it. I never watch our show.
It was a great interview. I enjoyed it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
He was a great guest. Bernd did a great job on the editing, and then his computer just like decided not to render it.
Nice.
So he shipped it to me, and then I have a virtual machine with Windows on it that I use for rendering, or I tried to render it on there, and it ran out of space. So I came back from work that day and had like an hour and a half, basically, until the podcast was supposed to air to render. So, yay.
But it worked.
It worked.
You did
It happened.
Yeah.
What's been going on with your computer, Burned? Because at first you didn't have Vegas installed, and then that wasn't working, and then...
So I needed to reinstall Windows for a long time. I just been procrastinating it for like 4 months. So, because like my C drive is completely full, and I had an old solid state like last fall sometime. Like I bought a new solid state, and I was like, I'm gonna put this in my computer. 6 months later, here we are.
I think I remember when you said that you had bought that.
He bought it before I bought mine.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
mine was installed at the beginning of December.
I purchased it, and then it sat on my desk at my old house for months, and then I physically moved to a new house, started a new semester in college, and then was sitting here, and my C drive was full again. And I was like, oh, maybe I should put that in. And so we did. So I put in my new C drive, which is great. My computer starts so fast, and I've got Windows 10 now, and it's great. But yeah, it didn't render. I actually installed Windows 7 because I was going to upgrade to Windows 10 from my Windows 7 that I have. And then so I installed Vegas onto the Windows 7, and it wouldn't render from there for I don't know what reason. Maybe something was wrong with the render thingy or like settings or something. I have no clue.
You probably have to buy more RAM or something, like download more RAM. Man, airball on that joke.
You actually have to download a card.
That downloadable RAM, because 32 gigabytes of DDR3 isn't enough.
I remember you having just like a computer that dwarfed all of ours. What happened to that?
I mean, it's
he still
old.
has it.
Yeah, I still have it.
Why did it
Old.
like just go to crap?
Nothing
you have to
went to crap.
reinstall your OS every once
How
in a
did
while.
anything in this conversation say my computer went to crap? So let's recap.
Because I remember you having so many issues for like every single time you have to render something.
There's no issues. There's Vegas sucks beans.
Vegas does suck. You're not wrong.
All right, that's a new one.
Like
He's not wrong.
No,
it's
not
terrible.
wrong at all.
Like the render thing is awful. The files it outputs are awful. Ted
Mine
had to go
crashes
out
every
of
5
his,
minutes.
Yeah, Ted had to go out of his way to go get a custom like what is it? Export software, whatever that is.
Yeah, it's X264 VFW.
Yeah, that thing. And so, like, I had, like, it's probably, like, my install of that was bad or something, so it's nothing to do with my computer. My computer's great. What was wrong with my computer is my C drive was too old, and I bought one that was too small because I was skimpy on it. And so I bought one that's twice as big, that is newer and faster, and is installed, and my computer works great now. It's great.
Yay!
It's great.
Yay.
Except for my right 144 hertz monitor. I have to send it back.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Too many hertz.
About 144 of them.
Bernd and I also saw Zootopia last week.
Yeah, we did.
Not like together, because we live literally 5 hours to 6 hours plane ride away. But I went to go see it with my friends Jordana and Richard, who have been interviewed in this podcast a couple times. And then, like, literally as I was driving back from that to go hang out at their place, Burn texts like, I'm on my way to see it right now.
Yeah, I went to go see it with my friend Cody, whom I've never mentioned ever before on this podcast.
Guys, no
Cody?
spoilers. It's not out in
Wow.
my country yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah, that's actually
Ted has
I
no
haven't-
excuses. At least Joel has an excuse.
Yeah, I haven't gone to see it yet. I really need to, though. I want to. You guys have raved about it. So.
I'm going to see it again.
Yeah.
So like I
Take
never
10.
go to see movies in theaters at all.
Yeah.
Because I'm lazy and have no one to go see movies with normally. But even so, sometimes I'll go out and I'll see stuff with like my family or a couple of friends when they're around. But I've never once gone to see a movie twice in theaters. And I'm going back a second time to see this one, so
Nice.
that's my review.
Yeah. So I'll hop on a flight up to you and we can go watch it together.
You're always welcome at my
Hop
place, so
on.
long as you're fine with me stealing the blankets again.
that carrot train.
I'll bring my own blanket
Oh.
this time.
I'm just gonna leave that one up in the air. So I wanted to mention something related to that because, as I said, I went to the movies with my friends Jordana and Richard, who made Children of the Night, and I see them about once a month because they live like 5 to 10 minutes away from my house. And we were chatting, and I wanted to pass on some very nice compliments that they both had about our podcast. After we saw the movie, I went back to their place and hung out with them for a couple hours, and we just chatted about some stuff. And
Wait,
they were
before
very,
you
very.
tell them a compliments that they said about their show. They both have lovely smiles. There, compliment them
They do.
first.
They do.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, but they're to be fair, like every time I see them, they're very complimentary about our show and always very interested in what we're doing. But this time was because they knew that like the show was ending, and like this is the first time I talked to them since we announced that. They were saying, like you guys should be very proud, like you've done some really awesome work, and she was mentioning that she had heard us talk about the fact that basically no one else is doing what we're doing when it comes to talking about art in a podcast form, especially not in like fandoms. Like there are very few people, and she's like, well, there is actually one that I know of, and it's by like animators at Disney. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. But she was like, no, like they get the same views as you do, so like if that's where you're going to measure yourself against, that's a pretty good measuring stick. So
Dang.
yeah, but yeah, they had nothing but good things to say, saying that we should be very proud and that they hope that we continue to do things because we're entertaining and stuff like that. So
wanna
yeah,
see
it was very nice.
I want to see the Disney Animator podcast. But yeah, thank you very much. Those are very kind compliments.
Yeah.
You're gonna give him more views than we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to kind of go off on that, like, first of all, thank you so much for the compliments, and thank you everyone who responded to Max's journal, giving us like compliments and stuff. It was very heartwarming to see all of those responses. So yeah,
Yeah, it was very nice. Hopefully one day we'll actually make another journal.
yeah, I've been meaning to do that, but
Any of
yeah.
us are right about that, but yeah, I mean, this is we're getting up there now. By the time that you listen to this on the Tuesday or the Wednesday or whatever, we've got just one more episode to go. This is our last like normal episode, and then the next week we're just going to sit down for an hour or however long and just chat about the podcast and what it's been like and that kind of thing. So yeah, this is our last normal episode. But we've been very thankful for all the support that we got on that journal and everything like that. We understand that it makes people sad and it makes us sad too, but some things need to come to an end, and so yeah.
Yeah, a lot of good heartfelt messages. I know Chowie Bean sent me one.
Yeah, very much so. So it's always great to it was something that I, just to go off on a tangent here, something I was mentioning to Jordana is like, if you were to compare our show and like the numbers of our show to like some of the most popular podcasts, we wouldn't be able to like match up with sometimes the like tens of thousands of views that they get on a weekly basis. But the thing that has always made that completely irrelevant to me is the fact that I feel like we have made a lot of very personal connections. Like we might
Absolutely.
get a couple hundred or 1,000 viewers, but I feel like I've been able to connect with a lot of those people. When we put up our journal, right, saying that this was going to be the last one, the names that I see in the comments are like, there are very few of them that I haven't seen before, right? So I've gotten to know these people, and that's that's really awesome to me, regardless of the view count. Like the fact that we were able to connect with that many people is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we'll get into that more next week. If you're interested in hearing us talk about the podcast, we'll be doing that for an hour next week for our last episode.
Make sure you go back and watch all the other 188 episodes first.
Yeah, it's really
Yes.
like I know the storyline gets a bit weird, but we're gonna wrap all of the loose plot lines and plot holes. We're gonna wrap them all up next episode.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to Burn sniffing Germans? Find out next week.
Next week.
Did he ever get arrested? Probably not. Yeah, American justice system. Hey.
He's in
Ted, it's your
Alaska.
birthday
It is my birthday soon.
soon.
It's on the 17th. So St. Patrick's Day is my birthday.
Well, it's
The
always
day-
it's always on St. Patrick's Day. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Whoa.
It's the day before we record our last episode.
Yes.
What year?
So,
Yeah.
the 17th.
Of 2016.
Yeah.
Every year.
Every year.
Birthday. You're gonna be 27.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You're
It is
old.
Very strange.
Yeah, you are too.
No.
Well, you will be soon.
No.
When we started this podcast, or rather when we started the first podcast, Joel was 22, and now I'm 22. That's weird.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going into stuff we're going to talk about next week again. My apologies. We actually want to do a normal episode, which means that we have to get to the...
The Ert?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, I Tim Allen there for a second.
I could tell, yeah.
It's me first. I was handing that off to someone, but
Yeah,
apparently I'm
no.
going to take that one right back because
So
I'm first.
I wanted to do something. So we didn't randomize the names at all. We
No, we
went in order because it's our last art episode. So
Oh, okay. I just thought we were lazy. Yeah, no, we planned for this. Yeah, it's good. It's good. So my art piece is something that I wanted to feature for a long time, and it's called Pancakes by Undurpable. And it's a very goofy piece. And one of the main reasons, like, I'm going to end up talking for a lot of this because I want to explain a little bit behind this piece and why I chose it and stuff like that. So a lot of the times in the last couple of years, we wanted to feature certain themes, or we've had ideas for episodes. The most famous ones and the most obvious ones have been the ones that Bernd has done, because Bernd kind of started that concept with the value episode. But we've done stuff like perspective and colors and OCs. They're kind of like special episodes. And something that I was toying with doing ever since I saw this picture, a year and a half ago, or I guess it's just a year ago, whatever, when it came out last year,
Yeah.
was the concept of an episode on comedy, because we often don't get to feature a lot of really good comedic pieces because there's not that much to talk about in terms of the artistic. A lot of the times they're simpler and like this, it doesn't have a huge amount of shading, or in the background's one color and stuff like that. But I think
It's just a good
it has
gag.
a lot of. Yeah, it's a funny little thing that you look at, but this is the thing that a lot of people will favorite, right? People will favorite this kind of stuff as opposed to necessarily the kind of stuff that we feature. And so yeah, this was the main piece that I was going to use. It didn't end up happening. First of all, I couldn't find enough art pieces that I thought illustrated my points well enough, and second of all, I just never got around to actually doing enough scientific research into why things are funny and what comedy means to everybody to actually feel like I was good enough to actually come on the podcast and talk as an authority about it. So I never really did it, but I really, really enjoy this piece. I think it's hilarious. It's goofy. And even a year later, after all these times that I've seen it, I still think it's great.
yeah. I just love all the expressions and the different methods of eating, I guess.
Everybody has very unique ways of eating. That's for sure.
Yeah. I have no idea how Twilight's going to get that pancake down from her.
But that's the way
Yeah,
that I would do it, I think.
I don't know what I don't know what her idea was there. At least the other ones are eating it slightly.
Yeah.
If we're going to do a
She's-
giggle episode, I think we just need to feature Undurpable, the entire episode.
Yeah,
yeah.
Undurpable's really great at making these kind of fun little quick gag ones. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Also, can I just say that Twilight's pancakes look more like crepes
Do they?
to me? Yeah.
I guess because they're so thin.
Yeah.
Shut your crepe hole. They're a pancakes.
I don't know. I feel so whenever I've gone to the States, you guys have really big, really flat pancakes that go off
Yeah.
the side of the plate. So
Yeah, like puffy ones. If any one of them look like crepes, cadences do, because you can't roll an American pancake. Let's be
You
honest.
can.
yeah, you absolutely can.
I like
mean,
the
what
pushy
is
story
you?
behind her ear.
Yeah. So sorry, those are for later.
Yeah.
They would not be that thin and not that well rolled at all. Like a normal American like flapjack pancake, like if you were to try to roll that, like you may somewhat roll it and then it's gonna fall apart. It's a pancake.
What's the difference between a
That's
flapjack
fair.
and a
It's
pancake?
fluffy. It's not a thing like you can roll.
It's a regional term, is it not?
Yeah, it is.
Some people call it a flapjack.
Burns seems to be the authority on this. I'd like to hear his explanation.
On what? A pancake?
What is the difference between a
versus a
flapjack and a
flapjack.
pancake?
In America, they're the same thing, and they're a big poofy thing that is very unhealthy for you.
So why use a stupid word like flapjack?
Because America, Joel, you wouldn't understand because you come from Prisoner Island.
I was trying to think of a stupid Australian word, but I can't off the top of my head. So, didgeridoo.
Well, I mean, that's...
Didgeridoo.
I don't even know if that's Australian.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I can make up weird
It's an
words, too.
Aboriginal instrument, yes.
Bam.
Yeah.
And it's not a stupid word
Now-
because it
but
means
does that make me-
what the
does that make me
thing is
insensitive?
in their language.
Oh, okay.
We'll see. Flapjack in Americanese means freedom cakes, right?
So the origin of the word flapjack came from the fact that there was a man in the early 1800s in the United States.
And did he flap his jack?
Well, no, he loved pancakes, and he was the first, I guess, patient for liposuction. And they left him with a flap on his stomach where his fat used to be because his skin was stretched out so much, and he would flap it like Adam Sandler in that one movie.
This is a children's show.
And
What's wrong with you?
Like, is this
and
legit?
I'm
Like,
I'm
is this
officially
actually the
scarred
thing?
for life now.
yeah, absolutely it is.
Fair
Anyways,
Anyhow.
so yeah, I think these kind of things don't often get featured in the show, but I think they're really great. I think all four of them are funny for their own reason, although I do have to say that once again, Cadence is best princess because the expression on her face as she stuffs what appears to be about 20 rolled up pancakes into her mouth is just fantastic.
I love the fact that she has two tucked behind her ear too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think Celestia is my favorite.
Celestia just can't contain herself.
No. Yeah.
And
Pancakes.
the other thing is
So
too,
good.
Bern, you mentioned before that one of your professors says that the title of an art piece and like how you present the art piece is relevant to the actual art piece itself.
Yeah.
And I feel like in DeviantArt, oftentimes descriptions can work the same way. And so the description here is just simply alicorns are so majestic. And I feel like that really like underlines the ridiculousness of these four rulers of the known pony world just absolutely going nuts over these pancakes at a table. That's good.
Also, I do kind of like how the title is just pancakes.
Yeah.
Because you go in with no expectations and then you're greeted with this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
All right.
This is a masterpiece.
No, it's fantastic, and I'm glad that I got to feature it finally, even though it took a long time.
Yeah.
All right. So who's next?
I believe I am the special guest coordinator.
Hey, you're the special guest this week.
Hello. So, the piece I chose for this week is an artist I've never featured before, and it's called Princess Luna's Academy by Wilhelm Tier, I believe.
There's no L in Helm. It's Wilhelm.
Wilhelm Tier. Okay, excuse me.
Helm.
But yeah, I really enjoy this. It's really cool. So I actually had never seen anything by this artist before, and I stumbled across this piece that was actually posted to Reddit. I was browsing through it, the My Little Pony subreddit, and it says even in his description, he's trying a new style reminiscent of style of Impressionists, and I believe more specifically kind of like Van Gogh-esque, because like he used this like style the most. The piece everybody knows is Starry Night by Van Gogh, right? And so you can see that. Yeah, you can see that very apparently in the clouds up above, but even like the buildings, like with their top points and like how the buildings are kind of very loosely brushed in with like where like the only apparent detail on them is the light from the moon and then the glow from the windows. That's again very kind of Starry Night-esque. But this is really, really awesome. I love just everything about it. I don't know. All I've said is this is a cool piece. You know, that's basically all I've said for like the past 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I have a lot of interesting
always-
things to say about it, but I'll be curious to know what you guys think.
I was just gonna say I always get pointillism and I always get impressionism and pointillism mixed up, but I suppose in some facets they're similar.
No, they are similar. Pointillism came from impressionism. Like at the time period in France when like impressionism was going on, pointillism kind of spawned from that. So like there's a reason why they look similar, but pointillism is a very specific type of impressionism, if that's correct. I don't know.
I think
it makes sense.
But I think pointillism is a type of impressionism, but
it uses specifically like putting dots of paint and color near and close to each other to make it seem like another color, kind of like dots on a monitor screen or whatnot. But this is just very, very loose brushstrokes done in very quick dabs of like paint that all mix and muddle together to create like kind of an impressionist feeling artwork.
I do like the swirls in the sky. That also reminds me a lot of the Starry Night piece.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Joel was saying. It looks almost kind of like a dream.
It looks like
got
dreamscape.
that kind of like foggy
absolutely.
aspect, like something.
And
can't quite get
everything
into
looks
focus.
slightly fuzzy.
Yeah, and like just especially on the right hand side, I thought the right hand side to me is very interesting because on the left hand side, even though it's impressionism, you can still get the sense that they're like, okay, well that's a wall and that's a tower, and like they've got kind of like defined outlines and things like that. Whereas on the right, it's almost like stuff starts to warp a little bit, and the land or whatever that is all like warped and weird. And then as you go up, it's kind of like, well, what is that even? Is it like water? Because one of them looks like a wave. Is it smoke? But it kind of blends in with the sky. It's very much like I don't know what that is on the right. It's very distorted, and that's certainly a very unique part of the piece, and that's what reminded me a lot of what Joel was saying. It seems like a dream because it's like slightly out of focus in a way, and it's weird.
Absolutely. And so that's really what makes this fantastic. And so there's something that people will use to describe Van Gogh's artwork, where he kind of uses that kind of very expressive little dotty brushwork with all like the kind of swirls and stuff. And the term that's thrown around is usually turbulence, because it's very turbulent. It feels like there's like an emotion behind it. There's actually some interesting like science video I watched on it that like they were saying Van Gogh was trying to paint, but I don't know if that's true. It's kind of out of my league. But regardless, behind all of these brushstrokes and like that crazy, just like you notice, like organic swirly stuff that's going on the right hand side, where it's not as structured and clean cut. It's just like, what is she standing on? Is she standing on mist, magic, water? Is like there a giant wave or a flood coming to like completely wipe out this castle or school or academy or what have you? We don't know. It's crazy, but there's emotion behind it. There's actually strong emotion behind it. So in all of Van Gogh's work, whenever he painted kind of that very kind of dotty, loose, crazy, like dabbing brush stuff, it was to convey emotion through his brushwork and through his artwork. And so beneath like this physical like layers of paint, there's kind of like emotion tied to them and how they're depicted. And so like this crazy flowing, swirly, turbulent like clouds and backgrounds and like land structures and like waves of paint like actually convey like an emotion going on between like maybe like the character or just that like that scene or whatnot, because it juxtaposes the castle so much, right? Where like the castle's very sturdy, has a stark contrast. There's like flat levels of color in there. It's not all swirly and crazy. It's very grounded. Where then you have like the clouds, the magic stuff, the land, and even like the vines kind of all swirling up the side of the wall, right? Where it's like there's like the land and clouds have a life of its own, right? So like that's kind of what the Van Gogh's purpose was, like in kind of painting all those swirly clouds and stuff. Like it was like his emotions like having to do with that scene that he was painting, right? Like putting him into those clouds, not just because he wanted to paint cool spiral deals, right? Like it was actually like physical like emotions that he was trying to convey through his artwork.
I mean, he might have just wanted to paint cool spiral deals.
I mean, who doesn't? Let's be honest.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the old the English teachers in high school will look at a book and be like, what this metaphorically means is the artist's turmoil and all this stuff, and then like the artist's actual interpretation. There's a blue tree.
No, it was literally just a blue tree.
Yeah, it was a tree.
It was just a spider on a rock.
You just put it in there because I like spiders.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Ted.
Oh, I was gonna say, like even in Starry Night, they're like the town. Van Gogh painted the town, kind of not really realistically, but like it's not like as surreal as the rest of the piece, like with all the spirals and stuff. So it's kind of similar to the castle or the academy in this piece, and it's really interesting because it kind of grounds the piece in something that is tangible. I think a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at how it's brushed or how it's painted, you'll notice that a lot of the bricks and like the towers and stuff, they're kind of painted like in geometric angles. All the windows are straight. Most of the bricks, like in the wall or the roofs of the small buildings, are like horizontal. And there's some roundness to the closest tower, but they're very structured. If you look, if you look at the clouds, like all of those little points in paint are like starting to actual swirl. They're much more random, much more chaotic. So there's kind of like a chaos type sense going on in that. And so I'm curious if this is what the narrative to this is, right? Because there's so much emotion put into everything behind. Like to me, it almost looks like there's a physical like giant wave of water like about to drown everything, or maybe those are mountains, with like mist coming off of them. It's very hard to tell.
It took me ages to see Luna.
Yeah, but like, is that Luna? Is that Nightmare Moon? It almost looks like Nightmare Moon just because it's so emotional. Because normally when we think emotions, we tie it to Nightmare Moon, right? And like her wings are very large, and then her hair is very ethereal, like Nightmare Moon's is,
Yeah. So Joel, did you want to say something?
I was going to say more on the swirlies in the background. They, the fact that the castle and the pillars and stuff are all very geometric, they're all real sharp, and they're all, like, you can see that they're one particular shape, where the clouds and the swirls in the background aren't. It gives you that sense. It gives you that sense of perspective. Like, you can tell that the swirlies are out in the background because they're a different shape to everything. It's like we often do with defining foreground, midground, background with different levels of blur or color and stuff. Something like that. That's what I was going to say.
I also enjoy the little touches of color at the bottom right that seem to depict flowers and like almost like a river that quickly turn into the kind of ethereal mist weird area above it. But there's some definition just down near the bottom that I think is quite nice and certainly provides another interesting point of contrast in terms of color, especially. When we look at the left-hand side, we've got the dark of the walls and the sky contrasted with the lighter pinks and yellow oranges of the windows, and the same on the right. We get the contrasting. We get some vibrant kind of bluey teals and the pink standing out for the roses.
Yeah.
The color is probably like one of my favorite parts about this. I feel like it's one of the most strong things about this in general, just like the color palette and like the tone, because the colors used, it does set kind of a more somber tone, right? It's not like happy, joyous colors. They're kind of very muted, and there's a lot of violets and like blues and then like dull greens. And yet there's still have like contrasting colors like the yellow and red in the windows and also like the pink in the flowers. And so like the areas of contrast that are created with like the bright spot up in the top corner with Princess Luna or Nightmare Moon. And then like the bright yellow windows, like being the front of the castle on like almost black or dark walls, like create like very strong areas of focus where you want to look.
Yeah. One thing I did want to mention is that, like a lot of Impressionist pieces, if you like step back from this piece or you like make it smaller, it does kind of get some more definition. So like the river off to the right, if you look at this piece up close in full resolution, it's like, it's kind of hard to tell, like, that is kind of like a river or whatever. But if you like zoom out, or if you like step back from it, it's kind of like I guess the water lilies by Monet is probably a good example of that, where if you look up close, it's like it's all just like blobs of paint, but then you step back and it's like a really gorgeous piece.
Yeah.
All right. So the next art connoisseur presenter is Ted.
All right, so I'm going to bring up two pieces. Sorry, Max. But it's okay because they're both by the same artist, Virastopher. And one features Celestia, and it's called Celestia.
That's Celestia.
And one is called Luna's Garden.
Wait, I don't get it.
What?
There's no pun in the second one.
Oh.
That's because she's sitting in a garden, Max.
And yeah, I wanted to bring these up because I thought that they were really well done. I love the colors in them. I love View's really detailed wings and the hair in like the Celestia piece. And I love kind of how he depicts the surroundings. It's like it's different in both pieces, but they're both really nice.
Didn't we mention a while ago that Virastopher was one of those artists that like I really liked I really liked a lot about his art pieces except for his horses, which was unfortunate because oftentimes I like the horses the most. And like that's so it's like so weird looking at Celestia, but also just Luna in general. And like I love the style that he's been presenting lately with all of his art pieces. Like there are lots in his gallery from latest that I'm like, yeah, I'm totally for that. That's great. And he seems to have kind of gotten over that hump of like, I don't know, like not to be offensive to him, but now that he's over that hump, kind of awkward looking ponies. It was very similar thing to what Assassin Monkey did for a while. Like Assassin Monkey had like kind of like in my opinion, a little bit of an awkward phase with his style. Then he pushed through it and now he's amazing. And I feel like View's kind of there as well. There was a period of time where I was like, I'm not really feeling your style here, but I'm definitely feeling the stuff that he's been doing lately.
Yeah, I think he's probably one of those artists that I've seen like grow the most over the past like year or two.
Right.
And yeah, it's fantastic.
It's really weird to kind of track when artists go through like breakthroughs with their style, because like we've been aware of Virastopher for like ever since we started, because Virastopher ran the Reddit MLP drawing school. And so we were always like kind of aware, or at least I was. And for me, it's been like the first 3 years that I knew about him, I was like, I'm not really feeling your style. And then it's like just within the last year, there's been like a breakthrough of sorts. And so it's just kind of interesting to me to kind of look back, and there was a definite moment where it like, oh, suddenly there it is, like it's starting to emerge, this very nice style. It's not to say that like it was bad before and this is good. It's more of like a preferential thing, but the style that he's been moving towards now, I definitely prefer, and it's cool to see that he's done that in the last year.
Yeah. I mean, this style kind of has an almost Disney vibe to it, I feel. And I don't know if it's like his character rendering or if it's like the colors that he chose or whatever, but it's just like that's kind of the vibe that I get from it.
Right.
I get that a lot about the Luna one because it's almost cel shaded, and it looks it looks Disney, but the Celestia one not so much.
Yeah,
yeah. I actually like the Luna one more.
Well, I think a lot of people are going to look at the Luna one more and like it, and I think a lot of that has to do with how she's depicted, especially with her facial expressions and things like that. But I want to pull back to the Celestia one because I really enjoyed his background, his depiction of the foliage. In my head, I was saying the sentence and I was like, "Don't say foliage, don't say foliage," and I screwed it up. It's foliage. I really enjoy that, the grass and the leaves, the way that they kind of just a little bit go over her on the bottom on the left, but then they recede into the background and eventually turn into this kind of blurry nothingness. I just really enjoy how that's depicted. It's a very unique. It's I don't want to say it's like a realistic take, but it's more realistic than like big blades of grass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's I'm pretty sure they're just they're Photoshop brushes like of grass or leaves or whatever, and then they have a transparency on them, and so he's just layering like a transparent black or gray or purple brush of these kind of whatever foliage, whatever word you said,
foliage
for these for the plants and stuff on Celestia. And no, it makes a very nice effect. It's a good like floral pattern. I prefer the depiction of the kind of flora. I think that's the correct word. And Luna's piece with like the flowers in the background, the vines and the bushes. And it actually reminds me of Art Nouveau, because when one of the big names in Art Nouveau, I believe it's Mucha, whatever his name is, he would like paint women that either sometimes had outlines or didn't have outlines, or they're very like a lot of care put into how they were painted, and then the flowers in the background would always be very outlined and ornate, like a design, so it was kind of like, let's have this character or this like attractive woman, and then like put a very designed, illustrated floral patterns around her. And so like the Luna piece very much like reminds me of that, because he says in the description he's experimenting with a more cartoony style, and I like it a lot. It actually reminds me of another artist. I get a very strong vibe from it, just how it's colored and shaded with like the violet gradients in her shadows. What's his name? It's like Alexander Art. Is that right? It's a Russian artist. Alexander
Sounds
Art.
similar.
Sure.
No idea.
I'll show you a picture later, but I believe it's Alexander Art. But yeah, no, very, very clean, like a lot of care put into the outlines and stuff, and like sharp highlights and the color on the top of her. And I like her face is extremely cute. Like her nose, like her cheek, her eyes with like the shines in her eyes and everything. It's very nice. Where in like the Celestia one, I think it's awesome as well, but it's very much different style. Like there's no real like strong outlines, right? She's much more painted, softly painted. I like her like the details in her body and wings like a lot, and like her neck. But if you're going for like the cartoony outline style, like the Luna's amazing. It's great. Like
yeah, but Luna doesn't have a sweet pun.
Yeah.
Too damn bad. Puns are for losers.
Ooh, wow.
You're a loser.
I'm so happy
pun
next
for
week's
that
our
one.
last episode. I don't have to talk to you anymore.
Wow.
Too real.
Yeah. Something
Yeah,
I
no,
like to say-
I agree that there's definitely like a big difference between the two, which is interesting because I feel like if you looked at it at first, you might not necessarily come to that conclusion immediately, being like, oh yeah, these are very clearly different things. But after you look at it for a while, you start seeing all of the differences, and yeah, absolutely, there is a lot of huge differences. There's no outlines on the Celestia piece where there's outlines on the Luna one. As you mentioned before, the flora is completely different in style and in coloring and everything like that.
It looks like something out of one of those handmade Disney movies,
Right?
like the old ones.
I also wanted to point out that I thought it was an interesting interpretation of Celestia's hair, in that it's like braided. But like in like interesting places. So there's like a braid near her ear, and like her tail is kind of braided a little bit. It's interesting. I haven't really seen that at all.
Yeah. Fiasper's been doing that in a couple pieces. He really likes kind of making more expressive hair and like playing with that and like braiding things.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I do also like how the characters contrast the background a lot in both of these pieces. I mean, I guess in the Celestia piece, it's a little bit more apparent because
Florange.
and the rest of the background, the rest of the background is very kind of I don't want to say monotonous. It's like analogous, I guess.
It's simple.
And she stands out, and it's kind of the same in the Luna piece. It's like this big blue, like vibrant pony in the middle of a duller sort of background.
Yeah, the Luna one's analogous as well, because you have blue, Luna being the main color, and then you move slightly towards red with the violets, and then you move slightly towards yellow, I guess, with the greens. Because like you add a little bit of yellow into blue and you get green, so that's where the slightly off contrast come from, like the flowers and the vines and as well as the background. But both characters stand out the most because of value contrast, because the characters are very well lit, yet the background behind them is more subtle, with the exception of the light behind Celestia's horn, because it's kind of like a focus of her magic,
Yeah, because she's lifting that tea.
Or is that the sun?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
it's lighting everything.
It is.
She is the sun.
It is. Yeah, it does look to me a bit like it's kind of allegorical to her being, like the sun.
Yeah. The sun, who enjoys her tea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
There is one more piece that we need to get to.
Yeah, and I was told I couldn't do more than one.
I just said you can't do 3.
But I really wanted
said I can't do. You can't do 3.
These were nice because we were comparing the two, and they're on the screen at the same time. Where the other pieces that you were choosing through had nothing to do with each other. They're all completely different.
Bernd is
people.
speaking my language.
Well, seeing as you 3 did really dark pieces, I'm going to go with something that's all real bright and happy.
There you go.
Mine
I
is
didn't
called.
do a dark piece.
Mine
was
is
pancakes.
called Harmonious Flight by Frieden. And it's Fluttershy, she's doing backflips, and the camera's all crazy perspective and stuff.
Is she eating pancakes? I think not.
No. Why would you draw art of somebody eating pancakes?
Wow.
Is that so? Can we get the elephant out of the room here? Is that algae next to the river?
It's grass.
Sand?
It's grass, yeah.
Okay.
It's grass.
Oh, it could be sand, yeah.
It's too green to be sand. Let's be honest.
It is
then it's
grass.
grass.
It's moss.
Green sand.
It is
That could be moss.
clearly ground.
It's grass.
It's not algae.
Grass moss.
Anyway,
I just
so
wanted to,
this
I just
makes
wanted to make
you look at
you
it and
know.
go, whoa, touch your head and stuff because of the craziest perspective, and that's something that I really enjoy, as everybody should know by now.
Quintessential.
It does.
Quintessential. Yeah, go on.
Yes. Go on.
No, I give up. I'm done. I give up. I haven't earned it.
All right. Well, something I really like about this is, as I was talking about earlier, with how we were talking about ways of differentiating the foreground and the background, Fluttershy is really, really thickly outlined, and everything about her is outlined, where nothing in the background is. So you can obviously tell that she's way up close to the camera, and all those trees and stuff in the background aren't.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first thing that strikes you with this, at least for me.
The second thing that strikes me is the fact that the stuff in the background, despite that it doesn't have outlines, it's also blurred. It's also very blurry. So it creates depth of focus like that, kind of like
And it's upside down.
lens-wise.
Yeah.
It's definitely
Yeah.
upside down.
And it's upside down. Right. Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
what I
upside
like
down
about
thing.
this, because, I mean, like I said, everybody who's watched more than 3 episodes of the show will know I really love stuff like this. But a really nice touch with this one that I haven't seen in a lot of other ones is the signature is twisted as well. So it's like they've just rotated the whole picture and done Fluttershy. It's
That's cool.
great. It's a really nice touch.
Yeah. That is pretty awesome.
How about another? Okay. So I was about to mention that this is a cool touch, but I'm a little bit concerned after thinking about it a little bit more. Has she broken her wing?
No,
It's
her hair is
wrapping
wrapped around
her
it.
hair.
Her hair's wrapped around it.
It's like wrapping backwards. I'm like trying to reach my arm around to simulate that.
Well, like, there's depth with her
bit odd.
hair. Like, her hair's flowing,
Yeah.
like, somewhat forwards and stuff. But, like, wings are pretty dexterous. Like, they can, like, bend all the way backwards or, like, stretch the other, like, way or whatever. Especially, like, pony wings. Can do some crazy
Magical
things.
goo pony. Just stretch and flex however she wants.
Despite that, I
can see
actually,
that.
I like the choice to incorporate her hair going, behind her wing. It almost like makes me think like there was something going on when she was doing her like flip, right? And so like she had her hair behind her head, and when she like flipped upside down, like her hair like wrapped around her wing.
Right.
And I actually like that touch before. Like
And she's
if I
so
try
happy.
to think through my memory banks of is a pony's mane ever underneath their wing while flying, it comes with no results. So I like that for originality.
You need to optimize the search engine.
Man, this artist loves Fluttershy. I
Right?
don't think we've ever featured this artist.
No, I don't think we have. I've been watching him for a while, though.
Fluttershy.
I really love his depiction of Fluttershy in this.
Yeah,
It's so cute.
She's adorable.
Very nice.
Yeah. Also, I do like his color choice for the outlines. Because they aren't like the black cell shaded outlines. And I think it's consistent like in both like her mane and in her
It seems to
body.
be, yeah.
Yeah, but there's a
they've-
different.
Even on the cutie mark.
I was
Yeah.
going to say there's a bit of a interesting contrast between the size of the line with the body, whereas the size of the line and the hair is much thinner. And, so
And then
the-
once again gives you that perspective.
right, and the body is definitely emphasized over the hair in this piece because of it.
Yeah, like if you look at the part where, as you were talking about, the wing looks broken and the hair's going through it and stuff like that, the outline thickness on the hair changes depending on where it is in space. Like, if you look at the part closest to her body, it's thicker than most of the other hair.
Yeah.
Because it's closer to you.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
I really no complaints from me.
I really do like how kind of swoopy her hair is too, because it
Yeah.
gives you a really good sense of motion, and that she's like doing this flip and like twisting and turning in the air, and it's really nice. Yeah, big swoops.
I think also there was an addition of kind of like a wispiness to the borders of this piece that seemed to imply a certain height, as if she's starting to enter the clouds as well. We see clouds in the background that are more well defined, but it seems almost like she's entering the clouds or in the middle of wispy clouds there because of that kind of almost like vignette of semi-transparent cloud mist.
Good word.
Did you say vinaigrette?
That's what you said, right?
Sorry, did I make you hungry with my description?
I mean, it also makes sense because there's white parts all over her as well. So I can't tell whether that's just reflected lighting or whether it's supposed to be cloud covering her
stuff. Or her hair is just really shiny.
Man,
Yeah, she
I'm
uses
still
Pantene.
impressed by that use of the word vinaigrette, like using it as a comparison for like an emulsion of the colors. Like it's man, it's good.
Yeah,
It just dresses
You
it
gotta
really
shake it.
well.
you gotta shake it first though.
Hey, with the puns.
So what I was going to say before was that this was the quintessential Joel piece because, the perspective is immediately jarring. I've actually looked at this piece a couple of times and like been like, all right, that's enough looking at that piece because, whoa,
Gotta get
the second
back
I
my
started
sea
focusing on the
legs.
back,
It makes your head
like
feel
as soon as I
funny.
focused on the background, I was like, okay,
Yeah. When we're
Yeah.
first talking about it, I was like trying to tilt my head to the thing. I was like, yeah, we're not doing that.
I told you, it makes you want to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I will place that in the positive side, even though I've just described it as making me kind of sick. But it's
I love
positive.
it.
I swear.
I love
It made me
yeah.
feel things.
All of you need
That's
to
what
make
we're
more
going
of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Make more like this.
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to the vinaigrette.
Excuse me.
Emulsion, if you will.
Yeah, the emulsion, if you will.
The picture dressing.
It's kind of interesting because if you look at like the tip of Fluttershy's wing, it's also a little bit faded. Like it was very intentional to put this like vinaigrette on the top of it, this white kind of border around it.
She's fuzzy at the ends. Yeah,
Yeah, it's almost like you're looking through the clouds at her.
yeah.
Whoa.
I feel like that vinaigrette reference was a bit forced.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's
know.
good.
I'm sorry.
I
I'm gonna give you a 6 out of 10 on that one. Cool. Well,
I'll take what I can
give
get.
you
Let us-
I give you a balsamic out of vinegar.
let us go to the questions.
Oh, that was bad. Or good.
I mean,
By the way, I remember that artist I was trying to think of in the Luna piece by Rastaper. It was Antiander art.
Oh yeah.
Antiander.
Antiander is like
That was the name. I was trying to remember.
I had no idea what you were talking about. Before.
Apologies to the pony art community.
Burn him on stake.
They're having a very hard time forgiving you.
All
Questions?
2 of them.
all right. So questions?
Yes.
That's me. That's my thing. Okay, so we've got 2 to use this week and 1 to use this
188
week.
episodes.
So we'll start with, I guess, number 1. When you see a picture that shows a much greater artistic skill than yours, do you get inspired or do you envy them?
Depends on who you are. Next question.
Can I say
he's
neither?
asking us personally, so
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you read the question again? I was too busy being a jerk.
when you see a
Fapping
picture
about.
that shows a much greater artistic skill than yours, do you get inspired or do you envy the artist?
Why not both?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that your answer, Bernd?
Yeah,
Both?
for me personally, I've definitely felt both emotions. I've definitely felt envy and forget you. Like, I wish I was you. I'm gonna eat you and devour your skill.
Excuse
me.
Because
Make
that's
sure you
how
put
it
some
works,
vinaigrette on
right?
that.
And there's definitely but when I do see artists' artwork, I absolutely save everything. What's that word? I archive all of it. And so it's like, man, this is awesome. I want to draw something like this. I archive it, like, absolutely. So I have just like this endless like list of libraries of things that I want to like mimic or be like or use as reference. And so like I do get inspired by artists, but there's also like a lot of envy that comes with that. But mainly it's just, it's enjoyment. Like I'm looking at it and becoming inspired by it because I like it.
Going on what Burns said, I don't go to that crazy extreme of downloading everything, but I get where you're coming from. Like, if you see something that's really, really good, and you get envious, you go, oh, wow, I wish I could be like that. And then that inspires you to do stuff, right? So you try it, then you give up, and you try again, and you don't get it, and then you cry, and you fail, and put it down, and never do it again. But,
real talk. Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's
both,
both,
reflect
right?
on your life and become depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Good. Ted, how about you?
I mean, kind of neither. Well, I don't know. I get inspired like emotionally, I guess.
You can
like
say neither.
If I see good pieces of art, like let's bring up Cosmic Unicorn for instance. Like when I see stuff done by her, like the painting that you have burned or the painting that I have, I just like I get kind of overwhelmed emotionally wise. I guess it's like the colors and like the composition and everything like that just like kind of inspires me, but not to create art. It just inspires me in general.
It's like what's the word? Like a transcendent experience where you're like, whoa, Like I'd never experienced this before, so it's almost revelational to use like big words. But something that's funny to me is like right when you started talking, like giving your opinion, I right clicked on my My Little Pony art folder and looked at properties, and the entire thing, the entire time you were talking, it was compiling how much data. And I have 40 gigabytes of.
I wonder why you had to get a new hard drive.
That's on a terabyte hard drive. That's on my 1 terabyte one, so it's fine.
Wow.
It's not even. That's not on my SSD. We don't put pony artwork on the SSD. What's wrong with you?
So I think it's completely legitimate to say neither, because my answer is neither. I figured out a long time ago that making art isn't something that it was fun to do and try out, but it's not something that gives me a huge amount of satisfaction. So I don't necessarily feel inspired because, I would like to leave it up to wonderful artists who have a passion for it. And I don't necessarily feel envy anymore. At first I felt envy, but nowadays I know that that's just not something that really is, like a huge part of my life. It doesn't bring me a lot of joy to be able to do that. So I would, again, I just leave that. I have an appreciation for it is a better term. I look at that and I go, wow, good for them. And that's kind of my feeling.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Even when I was doing like vector art and stuff, and like I did some fairly advanced stuff with vectors, but like there was this guy, and I can't remember who it is, but he did a vector of Andrea Libman, and it was just like,
oh, is that Heart the
really
Shadow?
out of this world. Yeah, I think so.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it was just like, it was really out of this world, but I wasn't like envious of them or jealous of them. It was just like, I appreciated the art, and like I was like, wow, you did a really good job.
Yeah, so. like for me, I just to summarize, like the emotion is just like, wow, that's cool. I'm glad that I can look at that. I like being on the consumer end of art. I like being on that end.
I feel like the more you strive to try to like actually like create art or create artwork or like make something or paint, or like be a digital painter or whatever, or a digital artist, like the more you strive to make yourself better, the more when you see other people's artwork, you become envious because like you want to reach that goal. So it's not just like, man, I envy you, you're a jerk for being better than me. It's like, I envy you because you clearly have this skill, which you, and like this knowledge, which you know how to make these beautiful pictures, and I don't have that, and I want it. And so like the envy comes from that, at least for myself. That's why like I archive all this artwork, because I want to look at it. I'm like, I'm gonna like make this. It's gonna be mine, but it's all just a lie to myself to make myself sleep at night.
All right, we should go on to the next question. What's the next question?
Welcome to Real Show.
Okay, so next one is, do you have a favorite sound?
Yeah, this
by
one.
Sonnenblitz. The first one was by Hunternick. This one's by Sonnenblitz.
Ech.
Bird, what's your favorite sound to make?
Ech.
Okay.
Yeah.
One and the same?
Oh, what was that second one? It's gross.
It's the best.
Yeah. Can I say the soothing tones of Burns' voice?
Sure.
I hope
Sure.
this is horrible for you guys.
How about you, Joel?
I don't know. The first thought that came to my head was the sound of a wet flog plonking onto glass, but
The wet,
A
the
wet
sound
frog.
of a wet flog.
Flog or
You said
frog?
flopping
I
onto
didn't.
grass.
no, I didn't.
You did. You said flog.
I was
Wet
like,
frog
what?
plonking onto grass.
Oh,
Grass or
grass
glass? Because you said both twice now.
Glass, as in like the glass tank that we have them in.
Okay. Yeah, when they jump onto the glass and it's
Yeah.
like, plonk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so caught up in the definition that I said before the show that I'm not allowed to say on the show that I can't actually think of anything else. So I can't say it. Really good singing, especially female vocals. It's my favorite song.
Mm-hmm.
Female vocalist, my heart.
Yes.
It's asunder.
It's good.
We gotta use the Swede one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know whether
Sorry.
it's-
Okay, let me rephrase. Can I read the question? Because it's phrased really badly.
Okay.
And I'm going to rephrase it.
I think it's a would you rather.
Yeah. Would you rather? There's 3 options here. And as I hit my microphone.
Wait,
You're
what
welcome.
was Ted's sound? Did Ted have a sound? What was your sound?
It was the sultry tones
Me?
of your voice.
Oh, okay, cool. Just
Yeah.
make sure.
Well, no,
I just
actually,
wanted
wait.
you to
Let
say
me
it.
come up with.
He just wanted you to say it again.
All right, we can continue.
What was it again?
One more time.
Okay, so the third question is: would you rather hear colors, taste colors, or feel colors? And why would you do that?
I have a real favorite sound.
I would rather.
What's your real favorite sound?
Blue?
It's the crackling of a woodwick candle.
Cool. All right.
I don't
now
know what
onto
that
this
is, but
question.
okay.
So, would you rather hear colors, taste colors, or feel colors?
So if you want to do all 3, no,
Cut
don't
that
do
out.
that. Don't do that at all.
Can't say that. You know what? Don't even cut that out. Just bleep it because it'll be funnier.
What?
Stop it! You can't advocate that kind of stuff on our show.
I was joking. I would never say that someone should go
Just
get that type of drug
just
and
bleep
take
all
it
of that
to
out.
experience those
Bleep
actual
it.
things that happen.
All right. So, I'm going to say.
I'm gonna go
gonna
with
say-
here. I'm gonna go here.
Okay. Sure.
Here
Why?
colors.
Why would you do it?
I feel like it'd be the at least intrusive. And
Wouldn't it just be constant though?
yeah, but I'd rather like.
How is that the least
But like,
intrusive?
listen.
Well,
but-
that'd all be constant.
Yeah, but like,
Would you rather
Okay,
have a
no,
bad
no,
taste
go on.
in your mouth like at all times, or would you would you
I
rather
can't get
like
rid of the green.
or would you rather have like a constant quiet weird hum?
no, but okay. So you know what? Just is that so? That's your motivate. What's your actual motivation for hearing colors?
I think it'd be cool.
Okay.
If I would have a motivation for hearing colors, I think it would be music. Like that would be quite the
Yeah.
experience, right?
Yeah, I dig music.
To listen to something and then have like an actual response, like in colors. But technically, we're not thinking about like I'm listening to music and like there's colors that happen. Like you hear colors. So if there are colors of something that you would have to see, you hear them. So everything
Right.
you see visually has a sound attached to it.
Yeah,
Like you wouldn't listen to music. You'd watch something.
You'd go
that
to
would
DeviantArt.
produce music.
and you'd
Yeah.
like stuff depending
So
on
this
what it
artwork
heard.
we've been
Sounds like.
watching would be like music to my eyeballs,
Yeah,
Right.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay. I guess Bernd and Joel are gonna go for here. Ted, are you gonna say anything different?
I think I'm going to go with taste. Just because I think it would be interesting to kind of figure out what different colors taste like.
What if you
How does-
eat
how does
food
orange
that
taste,
has
I wonder?
really bad colors to it?
Not like oranges.
Like, what if you eat food that has really like bad colors? Because I've eaten some bad looking food before that tasted really good. Like, you should see what I made last Wednesday. And I wouldn't want to taste the color of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, would chocolate taste like brown?
I think that would drive me nuts. Like, orange wouldn't taste like oranges.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah, that's an interesting point. That's a very interesting. The thing that taste has going for it is, despite what Joel is saying, I think taste would be the least intrusive because what you'd be tasting is like saliva, which is clear, so it's nothing. So it'd be like normal. You don't taste the inside of your mouth.
But you don't always taste your saliva. You just mean when you're not eating. So every time you eat, you have to be like, ugh, colors.
So
when you're sitting
but maybe
here,
it's not ugh colors. Maybe it's ooh colors.
okay, fair enough. We don't know.
Like, why is it always bad that you'd be tasting?
Well, because we're talking about this is the least intrusive experience. So if it's
because
not good
most of the
all
time you don't
then,
have
like,
things in your mouth.
But if it's
But
good
it's not-
when you put food in
like,
your
it's
mouth,
not
then it
that.
should just be good all the time.
It's like
right?
if you look outside and there's a big green tree, you get a weird taste in your mouth because the tree is green. It's not that you're eating something and it tastes bad.
Right.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, well, regardless, I would pick feel because I think that would be cool. It would be like you would have like a really like, let's say you would go on like a roller coaster and you have all of these like colors and it would like make you feel feels, and that would be cool. I like that.
Or
It's
would it
kind of
be
like,
that when there's like this bottle in front of me is green, like when I touch it with my handsies, I'm feeling this color, you know? Where it's like, it would be an experience of like my, the mat on my desk, like, is black, and so like I'm feeling.
That's what I'm thinking it is,
right?
because the person who sent in the question said they mentioned
Synesthesia.
synesthesia,
Yeah.
and like that's like when they touch the colors, right?
Well, it can be any of
No.
those. It can be any sense.
Right.
Yeah,
But
So,
it's,
Okay.
go
Yeah.
ahead, Ted.
but synesthesia is basically where you look at colors and you get these.
You have
kind
a
of things.
physical
Like, there's
response to it.
Yeah.
there's associations with the colors, and so people actually do have synesthesia. So like some people will look at a color and their brain will like form a connection with some sort of taste or some sort of sound or feeling or whatever, and it's all just like innate.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I would still pick feel, because that way you could sit in a room and you would just like you could depending on which colors you picked, you could sit in a room and just have a good time by sitting in a room. Like you'd be like, "Ooh, this is nice. This is pleasant." You know, you could have a relaxing room, right? You wouldn't even need to like,
I mean,
you're having a stressful day. You
don't
don't need
go
to go
to
take
a
a bath.
rave, you know what I'm saying?
just sit in your relaxing room.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or maybe you do go to a rave and like it gets you really pumped up because all the colors.
I can feel everything.
Yeah. So I would do feel.
Yeah.
I'd probably do sound here. I feel
I
like
would do sound as well. I would do
the
hearing.
experience of like looking at like artwork or something and listening to music at the same time and like having the artwork affect like maybe like what I hear, whatever. So like looking at something and then having like a visceral like hearing experience would probably be the thing that I would enjoy the most, because I don't want, whenever I look at something, to taste it. You know, I don't want that. And then like the feel one feels cool, but like I feel like the strong things that I have attached are like when I'm actually enjoying something or like the feel of something is usually like smell and taste. Like it's where the sniffing Germans joke came from. We had that at the beginning of the podcast. Like I really enjoy the smell of fresh bread. It has like nostalgic memories attached in my head, because my parents used to make bread when I was young, and like German pretzels and stuff when I was young. And so like I just really love the smell of bread. And
I thought it was because your Xbox controller was made of bread.
no, my Xbox controller is made of cheap plastic and young dreams.
Oh, so you used to make
Oh,
sandwiches out of it. Okay, I got you.
Anyway, so like I don't know if I'd want to
Noob
like have a
sandwiches.
color, like when I see a color, like get a feeling, because you'd see a color and then you would get a feeling.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I don't know if I would want to see a color and like hear it, see a feeling. I don't know.
I
Go
wonder
with here.
if like
Go with here.
I wonder if the feeling would be good. Like if you have like your favorite color, it's like, ooh, that's a good, like what's the good, what's the
Yeah.
colors that like make you feel good?
I
and what's
see
the
like
ones that make you
blue
feel
and
sad?
orange, and I'm like, yeah, like this feels good. And then like I see some
Feel
like
energized.
weird like green and purple. I'm just like,
Red
spleen.
basically
Black.
makes you sick. Yeah.
right in my spleen.
Like
Red
my
and black
OC.
makes you feel edgy.
Yeah,
Cool.
I feel so angsty. This OC.
Yeah.
All right.
So, fun story about that actually.
What?
The Good Mythical Morning guys. It's a YouTube channel, Good Mythical Morning. They just did an episode on synesthesia, so I watched that.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say they did an episode on edgy OCs.
No,
No, that was us.
One.
We did one of those.
yeah, we did that.
Why did we never do the red and black episode? Dang it.
We should have.
Next week.
The bled or rack.
That actually sounded like a bad OC name, like a red and black dragon OC. His name's Bled. Bled the Wicked.
And his sister rack.
Cut that.
No, it's totally acceptable. Keep that in. All right. All right.
Favorite sound.
All right. Well, that was our last normal episode.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can call that
Say-
normal, right?
Say normal. I'm using like big air quotes here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was it. I would say we should do the plugs, but honestly, like.
But I've already got it loaded up. There's like the outline thing
Alright.
on the side of the Google Docs
Do
is
it.
really, really good now. You can
Do
touch
it.
it and it
All right,
goes
you
straight
got
to it.
5 seconds to do it. Go.
Picado.tv /Cutie Art Crusaders, CutieArtCrusaders.deviantart.com, CutieArtCrusaders@gmail.com, YouTube.com /Cutie Art Crusaders, Cutie Art Crusaders @tumblr.com, and Facebook.com /Cutie Art Crusaders, and @Cutie Art Crusader on Twitter. Go
That's
there, you'll
really
never see us
good.
again.
That was really good. Round of applause.
That was
for
good. That
Joel.
was like 11 seconds. That was good.
Yeah.
That's good. I don't know why I counted on my fingers when I've got a timer right in front of me that I could just look at because we're recording.
I could just see you like at your desk, like just staring at your fingers.
I
as
was
you count,
physically
like, shaking
staring
your
at my
head.
fingers.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he's over the 5 seconds.
Yep.
And even in my head, I was like, this is probably not accurate to actual seconds.
I counted a little too fast, but it's
It
okay.
was a little bit fast because I'm feeling sassy. So yeah, those are our plugs. You can go there if you never want to see updates.
And if
from
those were too quick, you can watch any other 187 episodes.
187 episodes.
But
So-
we're going to be archived on those websites at least. So like they're not going to
Yes.
get updated,
Yes.
but you can look at our entire 2.5 year history. Or maybe
Yeah.
just like year and a half on some of those, like Tumblr.
You mean 3-year history, almost 4-year history.
Almost 4 years.
Yeah.
Almost 4 years.
So some people last week were asking if our YouTube channel is going to stay up and if our DeviantArt page is going to
Absolutely.
stay up, and
It's all gonna
like,
stay up,
yes,
yeah.
everything's staying
Welcome
up.
to the internet. You can never delete anything.
Yeah, everything's staying up, but we're not going to be producing any more content.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna have so basically the way it's gonna work, I guess, to explain a little bit is, we're just not we're not using those accounts anymore. So like they're gonna be there and existing. We're not gonna delete them or anything. We're not ashamed of it. It's just that we're not gonna be logging on there. So if you send us a DM on or a note, I guess it's called, on DeviantArt to that account, we're probably not gonna see it because nobody's logging onto it regularly. So
Yeah. You should send us to us individually.
individually, we're still all going to exist, believe it or not, when the podcast ends and none of us die.
I'm going to the fourth dimension after this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to
So-
poof
More like the
into
lost dimension.
non-existent.
I'm already there, Joel.
Yeah. Yeah. It's already transcended. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna still exist. There's been a couple people who've asked where are we gonna go, and it's just at this point I don't think any of us really know. So you
I have good
follow all of us.
ideas.
You can follow all of us individually if you want to keep up with us. And other than that, again, we're just going to keep the pages up, and that's that. Maybe we'll do journals or something on the DeviantArt page. I've been asking people to do it, but nobody has yet. So this is my do it or forever hold your peace.
I might make a
moment
sneaky
on the
video every now
podcast.
and then for our channel.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to keep following us there, we'll have content for the next week. But other than that, then it can be a nice little archive of what was. But we're going to talk more about the podcast, what's going to happen afterwards, what a lot about what our experiences have been, not being able to talk apparently. Next week.
Have you ever been able to?
No, I don't think so. I was the best one when we started.
I know you fell so far.
Yeah, really. But we're going to be talking about that next week. We're over a little bit of time this week. We're at
What are they
1 hour
going to
and
kick
10
us off the
minutes.
network?
Yeah, really. But next week we're just going to go until we're pooped. and we're done talking about it. So
So
who knows
stay
how
tuned for
long
a
that'll
5-minute
go.
podcast next week, guys.
Yeah, who knows how long we'll go next week, but we'll do a big thing. We'll talk about fan art, we'll talk about the show, we'll talk about how we started, we'll talk about why we're ending it, we'll talk about everything. And we'll talk about the guests we had and the experiences that we had. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if we went like 2 hours, but whatever, it's our last episode, so
Yeah.
We should
And actually,
you probably hate this idea, but we should live stream it.
no, we're not doing
no,
that.
we can't
That's
do that.
way too much coordination.
Dang.
yeah.
Forget that.
I guess like if you have any questions about the podcast specifically, so like we've always asked for questions like about art or about like us or just in general or whatever, and that's kind of turned into our question section each week. But like if you have any questions about our experience with the podcast specifically, feel free to send those in, and we might answer them. We'll see.
No, I think that's a great idea. I think people should absolutely send in. If you have any like questions or anything like that, please send them into our email, which is cutieartcrusaders@gmail.com, and we will take a look at them. And if they're good enough, we'll use them for like fodder to ask questions. Because talking for a long time isn't that easy, so having stuff like that would be great.
Says
And we've always had like great participation from our audience, and unfortunately, there's a big list of questions that we're not going to be able to answer that have to do with art and other stuff like that. But if you have any specific podcast questions, please do send it in. But you'll have to do it before the 18th of March.
Yeah.
Because that's the day that we're recording.
So basically 3 days.
Yeah, you got 3 days since this came out, so be quick.
Do
All you need to do is send an email. So that is everything for this week. Thank you guys for watching. Whether or not you're on the live stream or YouTube, we love you all the same. My name is Rainbow Plasma.
My name's Burn.
I'm Photograph 317.
And I'm Atmospark.
And we'll see you guys next week for our final episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh God.
Have I ever told you how much I love you?